Hello, my name is Trev. I am the Geekologist and welcome to the Geekology channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about running because running is something that you can combine quite easily with being an audiophile and enjoying music. You don't have to compromise particularly. You need to get yourself to a level where your running is comfortable enough for you to be able to use some of your concentration and focus on listening to your music. This will take some time. I have had years of practice of this. In fact, I run every single day of my life. I run 7 miles every day, which in other terms is around about 12 kilometers. That works out at about 60 miles per week, and you can times that by however many you need to get to the kilometers that I'm covering, but it's quite a lot. Once you've got to this level of being able to run, you are fit enough that you can actually enjoy your music and you can enjoy your running. Running stops becoming such a pain and it becomes an enjoyment. What is the best headphone to get that enjoyment out of your running? Well, that, my friends, is an entirely subjective discussion. What I'm going to talk to you about is what are the best types of headphones for running. And I'll give you some of my particular favourites, and I will tell you some of the pros and the cons of each type of headphone. The first one I'm going to show you is arguably the best. This, my friends, is a bone conduction headset. Most of the bone conduction headsets on the marketplace are awful. The Shokz ones, not so much. These are Shokz Pros, and they're really good. I'm going to put them, they'll almost be invisible as I talk to you about them. The bone conduction headphones were made after a concept based on something that Beethoven started doing when he started losing his hearing. He realized that if he put a baton in his mouth when he was playing the piano, he could actually hear the vibrations because it was bypassing his eardrums, and he was using his bones, his cheekbones, as a means to send the vibrations and bypassing the fact that he was losing his hearing. What bone conduction headphones do, and I'll demonstrate by putting them on, is they leave your ears completely open. Do you see? You're not covering them with a driver. The harder you run, the better the sound quality will be. That's an incentive in itself. With the Shokz, there are certain types of frequencies that are uniquely accentuated compared to a traditional driver type, because the driver type is not using your bone structure as a template to achieve the vibrations it needs to. It just vibrates around the inner part of your ear to achieve the sound on a conventional. But the Shokz Pros, they use your cheekbones, and the more you huff and you puff, the better that sound becomes. But there are certain frequencies that are worse than a conventional headphone, and there are certain frequencies that are better and almost become holographic. You know, the upper mid frequencies, there's just certain types of percussion sounds that you look around you when you hear them. There are certain effects on some songs, and you can't quite believe they're coming from these conduction headsets. Your brain will take a while to wire itself into understanding what's going on, because the bass on these is much less than a conventional headphone. You will be able to hear sounds around you provided you haven't got these up too loud, because your ears are completely open. They won't suffer from any sweat problems because they're not in your ears, and they are fairly efficient. So all but the most ultra marathoner is going to be fine with the battery life on these. And I would recommend them for both the safety aspect, the fact that there is some advantages to the sound quality, and the harder you run, the better these sound. These will retail you a decent pair of shocks around about the £100 mark. The next ones I'm going to come to are the truly wireless ones. This is the Samsungs. They're the Galaxy Pro 2 earbuds. The Pro 3 is out now, and I can only assume that they're better. These come in their own charging box as normal TWS ones or truly wireless earbuds do. These have a reasonably decent fit, but I have found it difficult to get the sweet spot where I'm getting really good sound quality and also getting a secure fit, and that is reasonably the problem of these. I mean, everything else is really good on them. They've got, if one of them drops out of your ear, you've even got a Find My Earbud feature on it that you can put on there. You can have you can tailor the sound quality to what your ears prefer. You can have a mixture of transparent mode, so you can hear loud noises, and you can hear the music. You can choose between complete noise cancelling, which obviously if you're running is not really recommended unless you're in a place that you really trust, that it's in the middle of nowhere. But even then, you know, there are cyclists, there are dog walkers coming up behind you that you might not be aware of. Sound quality wise, you can tailor the sound to what your ears prefer. The best sound quality I've ever really heard from any running I've ever done of any type has been these, believe it or not. So these are a beautifully sculpted pair of Savannah LX truly wireless earphones. So they've got a sort of a semi-custom fit there, and they've also got this tiny extra locking point there. They are quite large. I would say that out of all of my runs, that's the best sound quality I've experienced, but these aren't that resistant to sweat, and they just in your ears in the same way that nothing like as good as the buds. I'll put them up here while I talk about them. But yeah, that's Hi-Fi Man really got the sound quality right on those. They're a lot more expensive than the buds, with a lot less sort of practical features, so the transparency mode and things like that isn't there. And the comfort side of it, well, they are incredibly comfortable, but they get loose very, very quickly when you're wearing them, no matter what type of nozzle you put on them. So that is going to bring me on to my next one, and you can get such a thing as a custom set of earphones. Now these have been custom fitted to my ears. A solution was put into my ears, and then that template was taken out, and I had those 3D molded and fitted to a 5-driver system in each one of these. I mean, this sort of solution will set you back maybe £400 or £500, at least. That would be the start of them. These are the ACS versions. These are the flagship ACS in-ear monitors, custom in-ear monitors, as worn by the Roger Taylor, the Queen drummer. He uses these in concert. So they're sweat proof, they're quite practical in that way, but they do come with a cable. You cannot hear a single thing around you. The noise cancellation is unsafe for runners, in my opinion, and you do have a cable, and that cable's going to flap around. The sound quality on it is incredible, but the fit is very, very snug, and if you're running and you're breathing, then your ear canals are flexing in and out, and it's an interesting sensation, so we say. I mean, I've done hundreds and hundreds of miles of these, don't get me wrong, but I always go back to wireless, really, because that cable is just, there you go. It's a shame, and yeah, you never know what the sound's really truly going to be like. You can get a sort of a demo version of what the sound's going to be like with them, but I found these to be just too much, really. The sound quality is so incredible on them, but maybe it's too much for when you're running. It's maybe a bit too off-putting. I'm not saying you know, it should be completely background music on the move. I'm not advocating that at all, but I hope you get what I mean. People say that, don't they, when they don't know how to really sum up what they're saying, but I'll leave it for you to decide. The next one I'm going to show you is a full-size set of headphones. These are the Sony WX 5000, I think. You'll see that there's some aftermarket pads for these and a comfort strap. So already you're thinking, well, they're not perfect out of the box, are they? And you'd be absolutely right. In the winter, these are great. Keep your head warm, and provided you're wearing these, because if you don't put these on, these things will break. They will go wrong on you, because sweat will get into them, rain will get into them, into the circuitry. There's lots of circuitry inside this thing, and they'll break. They'll stop working completely. I guarantee you. That's not a threat, it's a promise. They won't work. You try wearing them like this without wearing the protective waterproof aftermarket pads, forget it. They just won't work. That's one of the major disadvantages of a set of full-size Bluetooth headphones of any quality. Once you've got around that, which a set of waterproof pads for them, which are just under £20 on Amazon and the like, resolves it. They're great for wearing in the winter because they keep your head lovely and warm. There's no fit problem particularly. There is a bit of creaking and stuff as you're running around with them, but yeah, I've sort of had to put up with that. In fact, the Mark II version of the Sonys were better. They didn't creak so much, but they sound quality isn't quite as sophisticated as these. Again, you can tailor the sound to your liking, and not only that, is these are quite smart in that they recognize where you're going, they remember where you're going, and they know how to adjust the transparency as you're going, and they call it adaptive sound system. Again, you can tailor the sound quality to what your ears are enjoying. So if you like more bass, you can change the EQ and it will just learn what your hearing is like. It will learn what the environment around you is like. But as I say, these are just under £300, I believe, and you start wearing them running as they are, and they won't survive the rain and they won't survive your sweat. And in the summer, my opinion, other than for the most fittest runners out there, they're impractical because they just get so sweaty, because by their very nature there's a lot of it. And when you're out running and it's warm and you're likely to sweat, you want to wear as little as possible, not as much as possible. Well, I hope this 15 minutes has been useful for all you prospective runners out there, and for all of you sat on the fence thinking, well, I ought to be doing something. Yeah, you can't spend your whole life working in the office, sat down and listen to music and then eat whatever you want. Something has to give. Running, my friends, could well be the answer for you. Whatever you do in life, try and make the most of it, get enjoyment from it. Thank you for staying with me, and stay tuned for another episode of Geekology Channel. My name is Trev, I am the Geekologist, and goodbye.